Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi guys. Oop, microphone. It's Chris Sandeman, back again with another live stream. Now, for North America, this is frightfully early. So I don't really expect you guys to be awake right now. But, and for Europe and the UK, kind of right in the middle of your workday. So I'm sorry if this isn't greatly well timed, but I'm in Aberlour, and this is I'm leaving today. So now's the time to do a live stream for it before heading up towards Dalmore and Glenmorangie distilleries and overnighting tonight in Inverness. So, well, what's more fitting than starting a live stream in Scotland in a graveyard? Because I feel like, from having lived in Edinburgh for a bit of time, graveyards were just like a constant presence around. Hey, Anna Maria, good to see you again. Thanks for jumping in over on Facebook. Welcome to Aberlour. So we're only going to do a quick stream now, about 30 minutes or so. And my plan is to walk you from this graveyard that I'm standing in right now through down the high street along the A95 of Aberlour and end over by the main square. Maybe we'll make it all the way to the Walker's Shortbread Biscuit Factory, which is also here. You know, if you've ever stayed in the UK and they had a tea service in your room, like, you know, like a little kettle and cups and whatnot, usually there'll be a little packet right there of Walker's shortbread biscuits. And they come from here. It's kind of crazy. They're huge. They're like 60% of all the biscuits eaten in the UK are Walker's. So yeah, you know, Aberlour, not just famous for whiskey. Good morning, Ross. Thanks for saying hi. I hope I haven't interrupted you at work or such. You got a busy week right now, I imagine. So thanks for stopping in and saying hello. Well, and it used to be where St. Drostan's kirk was. Kirk is a church in Scotland. And the old St. Drostan's is gone. St. Drostan was a guy who had come over from Ireland to help convert the Picts, who were all over here in north and northeast Scotland back in the day before the Gaels kind of supplanted them and replaced them. Hey Mila, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. And St. Drosten, he you know, well, he had a kirk here. He came over around like the 600s, early 600s, right at the beginning of the 600s, end of the 500s. So we're talking about some ancient history. And as I mentioned yesterday, in Scotland, there was a sort of a quiet period of, well, it's not a quiet period. A lot was going on during the 600s through the 1200s, but there wasn't a lot of that had survived for us to be able to refer to today, which makes it tough. Shannon, oh my goodness, what are you doing? Way too early for you. And Bar, hey, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Well, I wanted to show you guys two things here in the old churchyard, this graveyard, and then we're gonna hit the street and start walking along and seeing some more. The first thing, I believe this might be part of the old wall of the kirk that was here, St. Drostan's. It's gone now. In 1812, they built a new kirk in the city center because the old one was in such disrepair. It actually caved in part of it when a well-proportioned parishioner, you know, a lady of larger size, was walking along the kirkyard floor, and not the kirkyard floor, but inside the kirk itself, and the floor gave way underneath her, and she fell through the floor, and luckily spread her arms just in time to catch herself as she kind of went into the hole. And they said, okay, it's time to replace the church. Good morning, brother. Good to see you. Hey. And Anna over on Twitch. Awesome. Thanks for stopping in as well. Welcome everyone to Aberlour. Now, really quick about the name Aberlour, just so you know, the Lour burn, the Lour River or stream, is a tributary which flows into the Spey River, and the Spey, giving the name to Speyside, runs past here. So. Right, like Inverness, is Old Pictish, which is actually supposedly not that far away from Welsh, modern day Welsh. And Aber and Inver means the confluence of waters, or the mouth of the river, where water gets to other water, right? Whether that be the ocean, or whether that be a river going into another river as a tributary. And the Lour burn, or the Lour stream, flowing into the Spey, meant, well, Aberlour. Aberlour, it's the confluence of the sake of this place. Although officially where we are is called Charlestown of Aberlour. And that's because a guy by the name of Charles Grant, who inherited this land around where I am right now from his father, Robert Grant, who'd actually bought it from another guy named Sir Archibald Grant. Well, he'll set up this town here, our friend Charles Grant. And he names it after himself, Charlestown. But it didn't really stick. I mean, most people call it Aberlour, even though officially it's Charlestown of Aberlour. Nearby, you've got Archytown, because that was Sir Archibald Grant's town that he named after himself, Archytown. So, I don't know, claim to fame for those folks. The really cool thing I wanted to show you in this graveyard, one of the two things, is first this wall here and this plaque. I think it's really neat that I stumble on this. And you see the date here of when this wall memorial is placed up there. It's 1664. Guys, what else happened in 1664? 1664 is when New Amsterdam becomes New York. Yes, it's when New York is taken from the Dutch by the British. So, comes from way back then, from when New York kind of has that huge change and starts to grow as part of, part of the British holdings and empire. Pretty neat. And the other thing I wanted to show you guys over here, as we walk through the yard, this is not a church. This is a mausoleum, and it's a mausoleum of the Macpherson clan, or some Macphersons that are. Clan historically was a pretty violent bunch of folks, and for all us cat lovers out here, their clan motto, which we can see, you can see that there's a cat right there, right? Look at the kitty cat. And the clan motto is, touch not the cat, but a glove. Touch not the cat, but a glove. Sorry, there you go. And that was also kind of a metaphorical to other clans not to mess with the Macphersons. Don't touch that cat, don't touch that lion, that tiger, that fierce beast, but instead, touch a glove. Think twice before interfering with Macpherson business. So, pretty neat. Well, let's zoom back out. And let's say goodbye to the kirkyard. Let's make our way out past these gravestones and head towards the main stretch of road. So, even though St. Drosten came here at some point, Shannon says, I'd rather touch a cat than a glove. Yeah, right? I mean, fair enough. Me too. But like, not if the cat was like a clan of really violent Scotsmen who are, but a real cat for sure, definitely. Hey, Diane, thanks for joining over on YouTube. Appreciate you being here. Okay, so we're out through the kirkyard. We're gonna close this door behind us, and start heading down this street in Aberlour. So it's set up by, like I was saying, Charles Grant in late 1800s. Charles's dad, Robert, shout out to Shannon, had made his fortune in Canada and then in London. And that's how he was able to buy the land that he bought from Sir Archibald Grant. It's really kind of tricky in Scotland, I've discovered. A lot of people in this area have the land. They may or may not be related to each other. I was trying to figure out if Robert, who had bought the land from Archibald, both named Grant, if they were connected in some other way. And there's no reference that they are. So seems strange. This is kind of neat, guys. It's always fun to see little things like this. These are sidewalk lighting, spaces. So before you'd have had electricity, if you wanted to have light get down underground, you'd have to, you'd have glass like this on the sidewalk to light that basement. So you can tell that it was a building from pre-electricity times. So yeah, Aberlour, it's probably more famous for, well, the name is probably most famously associated with the Scotch whiskey. And as Ross will remind us, that's whiskey without an E. It's just in the US and Ireland that people spell whiskey with an E-Y at the end of the word rather than just K-Y. Yeah, Ross, it is. It's nice. Look at we've got blue sky, guys. Look at that. Blue sky. And blue sky is always, blue sky and a little bit of sun on these old, granite buildings will really make them light up and shine and show you the way that you really want to see it. Anna writes, it's so interesting to see that next to an electric car charging station, if that's what it was. Yeah, that exactly is what that was back there. Turn back so you guys can see it. And I've noticed that there are a lot of electric car charging stations around. So, yeah. Oh, zooming back in. So, okay. Aberlour used to be along the railroad. Well, there used to be a lot more railroad lines around the United Kingdom, and well, Great Britain. Difference between United Kingdom and Great Britain, guys, is Northern Ireland. If you're going to say the United Kingdom, you're really talking about the United Kingdom that includes Wales, England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. But if you're talking about Great Britain, then you are talking about just Wales, England, and Scotland. So used to be a lot more train line here, and this was a stop on the train, but unfortunately the trains were largely curtailed at one point by a guy by the name of Dr. Richard Beeching in his famed Beeching Report, often also called the Beeching Axe, at which point he basically cut 2,363 different stations around Great Britain and reduced the total amount of rail line by 5,000 miles. That's 55% of all stations and 30% of the route miles. And that was done in the 60s as a way to try to plug up the leaking hole of the costs of the train system and supporting it as it started to compete with, of course, lorries or trucks and major highways and things like that, or just people driving their own cars. So it made more sense for you to take the highway instead of taking the train. Alexa, good morning. Great to see you. We're really glad you're here. It's lovely. Shannon says, I heard that the rail lines were having issues with tomato plants. Huh, interesting. That actually there were tomato plants maybe coming in to the train tracks. Well, I didn't know, I haven't heard that, but it's very interesting. This here reminds me a lot of of Edinburgh and the Mercat Cross. And you have these central, I actually don't know if, I'm assuming that this construction is the same as in Edinburgh, and that this would be a place where you would have announcements, proclamations, maybe you'd even have a form of stocks here to move away from the music playing from the workmen over there. Maybe you'd even have stocks there to display ne'er-do-gooders who had offended the community by thieving and such. Morning, beautiful puppy. Hello, happy dog. Yeah, Shannon, tomato plants. You know, a lot of those rail lines, all that route of train tracks has become now, well, walking paths or cycle paths, you know, hiking paths, or it's just been reclaimed. But there's also a whole bunch of old bridges and rail line which is just left derelict around the country, so, which is pretty interesting. Diane writes, switched over from YouTube, much better on Facebook Live. Yeah, I don't know why sometimes the resolution on Facebook is better than on YouTube, and sometimes it's the absolute opposite. And and YouTube will be better than Facebook. Just take a look down. You can see these old paths down to the closes, the enclosed spaces back there. Shannon, tomato seeds survive through the digestive tract, and a lot of the trains still flush on the tracks. Oh, I get it. That's really interesting. It's the evolutionary survival process of tomatoes. Pardon me for saying tomatoes, guys. You might say tomato, but when you're in Scotland, you say tomato, I think. I mean, in England, you say tomato. Oh, no. What if in Scotland you say something else? Thanks, Shannon, for explaining as well that there's just more over on YouTube, actually on Facebook, and that the YouTube connection's okay. Yeah, it really speaks to the community aspect of Facebook and the value of us really, yeah, you know, focusing on that as well. You know, whatever reaches people is really great, so I'm happy with it either way. You'll see a lot of trucks going by as we're walking along. We saw some of these yesterday as well, and it's because there's, you know, a massive industry happening around us where all of these distilleries that are in the area, they really need, you know, they need things brought back and forth. It's not just them shipping out whiskey, it's water they have locally. Usually that's always going to be part of it's your main ingredient, right? So you need to have access to water, and Speyside water is incredibly good and excellent. Drink the tap here for sure. No reason to buy bottled water when you're in a place that water's tastier than whatever you get in the bottle. Shannon, you know I love your knowledge, and that tomatoes have evolved to survive in our digestive tracts, or tomato seeds have survived in our digestive tract, probably with the plan, knowing that one day they would be swallowed down by humans and then distributed over train lines. So I'm curious, are there other seeds that work the same way for us, that make it through? If corn kernels were seeds, I'd say maybe them, but you can't plant corn kernels after you've eaten them and grow corn plants, can you? I wonder. All right, well, look, Aberlour. Small town, guys. Not a lot of folks here, and I said before that it was the late 1800s, 12, in fact, that Aberlour will come into being, you know, kind of like officially. But there were people here before, because St. Drosten had visited already, you know, way before, earlier on. He ended up actually becoming a hermit, moving up north, to close to Fraserville, I believe. What its name was. Let me nail this down for you guys. Fraserburg. Yes, close to Fraserburg. And founds New Aberlour as well. Becomes a hermit. And then it's during that time, after he's kind of left, that he starts performing miracles. That's how he gets his saintness. I would say, to Shannon's question, Chris, is this a town or a hamlet? And I believe it's officially, and that's a really interesting question, because of course those are different. If you're a town or you're a hamlet, you might have a different government, structure. You might have a sheriff or not a sheriff and things like that. And I believe it's a town and not a hamlet. So Ross asks, have you tried tablet yet? Oh yes. But you also need to try iron brew. Yeah, iron brew I know well. There's a guy that I work with named Peregrine Hodgkinson, and he went to Edinburgh, not university, but I think it was the Architecture College of Edinburgh or something like that. Anyway, he was a huge iron brew fan, and he speaks and sings iron brew's praises. And I think it's true, right? Ross, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that Scotland is the only country in the world where Coca-Cola is not the most popular, sugary kind of beverage, the cola beverage product. And in fact, it's iron brew. That iron brew displaces Coca-Cola, and it's the only place in the world where this is true, and it's Scotland. So that is a fun fact that may or may not be true, but I like to say it because Scottish people say that to me all the time. And just to be clear, guys, Scottish people, or Scots, but they're not Scotch people, right? You can refer to Scotch on some things, like Scotch, like the whiskey, or Scotch eggs. It's also a way to refer to use the word Scotch. But it is the Scottish people, or Scots. Although, I guess you could probably say that most Scots come from Scotch eggs, or most people born in Scotland come from Scotch eggs at one time or another, if you follow me. Oh, Ross, thank you for the confirmation there. That is accurate. Ooh. Oh. Ross, tell me, is this legend also true? I heard, Scotch tape, right, Shannon. Good call. Although, I don't think it has anything to do with Scotland. I think it's just a marketing name. Because Scottish things, or Scottish people, are very trustworthy. And it's, that accent, you want to believe it. Someone's doing a commercial for insurance on TV, whether it's in the US, Canada, Australia, or the United Kingdom. If you have a Scottish person doing the advertisement voice, you're just going to trust it a little bit more, because you're when Captain Kirk asked Scotty, can you give me more power? And Scotty would be like, Captain, I'm giving you all she's got. You trusted him. You knew it was true because he had a Scottish accent. A lot of trucks going back and forth. And they're moving malt, they're moving barley, they're moving, yeast, all that kind of stuff. Oh, but here's my other question for Ross. Is it true that if you see 7 white horses in a single day in Scotland, that is the day that you will also meet the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with, your romantic partner? So I believe that is also a legend that may be true. There is a white horse. Find 6 more and you'll end up maybe over here in the church. It's totally possible. Yeah. The mists of time. I think that's part of the great storytelling tradition in Scotland, is that maybe because there wasn't so much written history that survived from the Dark Ages, that's why you ended up with a lot of storytelling going on. And you know, through the mists of time, many a story can become a little bit cloudy and distorted, right? Yes, Alexa, me too. These cute little houses, and there's some big estates nearby too. And we've kind of come to the end of the housing part. Guys, one last thing, because I'm pretty sure we're coming up on it right now. If I just check to make sure, yes. Oh yes, and here it is. Bum 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 bum. Dun dun dun. Walker's Shortbread Limited. This is it. So whenever you guys are traveling to the and you are surprised in your room that they've given you a kettle and tea, take a look at the little package of cookies there, and it may very well have originated right here in Aberlour. Aberlour. The mouth of the Lower Burn. Neat, huh? You'd kind of imagine that they'd have little tasting packets here for you right outside, but no, they don't. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Okay, well, we went from Kirkyard to shortbreads. So, boom, that's pretty amazing stuff. I gotta get on the road and head up to Dalmore. I haven't told my brother this yet, but I don't think I'm drinking today. I think I drank enough yesterday for today and tomorrow. I kind of feel like maybe I won't have a drink until Friday. Seems like a sensible idea. But with that, folks, we're gonna wrap up this quick 30-minute live stream in front of Shannon's flower bed so that we can see that, and then I will see you from Dalmore. Hopefully I will have good connection there, and I'll be able to live stream again starting around 12:30, something like that, UK time. So 1:30 or 13:30 in European time, and then in the US, you know, it'll be tricky. Diane asked, "Did your brother overdo it?" You know, he runs a liquor store, so he didn't overdo it. For him, like, he runs a liquor store. The guy can put back a couple drinks. However, I run 40 kilometers every week, not a liquor store. So for me, you know, putting back 3 or 4 pints and like 3 or 4 whiskeys, even over an 8-hour period, I'm rough, not feeling great. So thank you, Ross. I appreciate you. I hope so too. But you know what? Like they always say, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing, right? So you just gotta have the right clothes for the right weather day. Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate that. Yes, we'll have more adventures. And as I've been going and I see interesting things, I'm stopping and often not having service, and I'm just recording little bits and bytes of places. So that way I can make a mashup later on of Scotland touching points, touch places. So why don't I give you guys, here, as I'm walking back, might as well, I gotta walk back to where the car's parked anyhow, and as I do, maybe quickly show you where we've been staying in this place called the Mash Tun, which used to be called the Station Hotel, but then they didn't have a train station here anymore, so they changed it to the Mash Tun. And the building's actually shaped like a ship because the original builder was a maritime captain who built it. Yeah, you know, pretty interesting space. I've had a really great time in Aberlour. People here, small town, people here are really friendly. Travelers are really friendly. PCR tests, 2-day tests arrived. Guys, if you are traveling to the UK, something that I didn't realize and was a bit of a shocker for me at the airport and led to a last minute fear that we weren't going to be able to get on our plane, me and my brother both, is that you need to do the contact tracing form for the UK to enter. And part of that contact tracing form, which I thought I'd filled out, but I hadn't, I'd filled out a different form. Part of the contact tracing form needs you to put in a code associated with your PCR test that you will have to pre-order and prepay for before even boarding your plane to fly into the UK. And if you're coming from an amber country or a green list country, then that test only needs to, then you can do that test without and not have to quarantine, and you do it on your second day. And ours just arrived this morning, so I'm waiting till I get up to Inverness, do my swabs, and then mail it back for testing to hopefully confirm that my double Moderna vaccine has worked, and that the PCR test for COVID-19 that I did on Friday, which I had in the morning, that said I did not have COVID, has remained through, and I didn't catch it on the plane, sitting next to someone who didn't have a vaccine. Okay, look, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys. I'm not going to make you look at the Mash Tun because people have got to do stuff. It's early, it's late, it's all sorts of times, and there's so much more to see. But the key point of information there is that if you are heading to the UK, despite there being a little bit of an alarming rise in positive rate here in Scotland especially, then just remember to get all your stuff done ahead of time, especially to get that contact tracing form and PCR test ordered ahead of time. So that'll make your life at the airport a lot less stressful. Oh yeah, Ross, come on. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. I know it's fine. I mean, it's actually part of the reason why I don't wanna, drink today or tomorrow, is that I just don't wanna get myself sick. And not sick from COVID, but like just a cold or something, because I mean, there's nothing more stigmatizing than sneezing or sniffling right now. And it's like, people think you got the Black Death. So better just to keep healthy and keep it going. Andreas, hello Chris, how is the weather there? It's nice. It's a really nice day today. All right, it's a little bit chilly. It's like 50s right now. I've got a jacket on to keep a little bit warmer. But it's not raining, which is great. I mean, blue sky. Come on, look, there's blue sky behind me. I mean, it's so bright and sunny out. It's the camera phone is having trouble focusing on this color, right? And definitely, Shannon, no plague allowed for the weekend. Shannon, my ghost +1 for the weekend. I'm sure everything's gonna be fine. It's all grand. It's lovely. All right, so from Aberlour, come and visit one day, guys. If you're in the UK already, it's easy to get up here. Scotland is open for business. Just be safe. Have your mask. Get one that goes around your neck, right? So you're always respectful of others and such. And if you're flying into the UK from abroad, yeah, get all that paperwork done ahead of time. And let's all, hope for a quick return to more stable levels, despite the current rise of Delta. And if you're not vaccinated by now, I'm not sure anything's really going to convince you to get vaccinated, but let me just say, I've been vaccinated. I feel great. I didn't get sick from it. My arm was a little bit sore. It's passing all the approvals, and the chance of you getting sick and dying, or even just getting sick from a vaccine, exists, but it's so minuscule. The chance of you getting sick and dying from COVID-19 is much, much higher statistically. So if you're just a maths person, you just believe in math, not even science, just math, then you shouldn't. There's a spider crawling across my screen. That's the weirdest. I've never had that happen. You guys couldn't see it, but he walked like down my screen. If you're just a maths person, get the vaccine, right? Because that is such a better chance for you to survive COVID and not get sick from COVID, which is really dangerous. You know, for you, and for your friends and family and grandparents and children around you, you know, you want to get in there. Andrea asked, is 2 times Sinovac vax and 1 dose of Moderna good enough to enter Scotland? I don't know if the Sinovac is on the approved list. 2 doses of Moderna or AstraZeneca or Pfizer, they're all good to go. But yeah, I'm not confident about the Sinovac and whether that's been on the approved list or not. But luckily, the UK government has reams and reams of information, which is really hard to sort through and like have an overview of. But the answers are there. So I would say, rather than going to like the UK Gov Health site and trying to find that information on their website, because it's not great, I would instead just go to Google and Google the specific question, like Sinovac approved vaccine entry Scotland, something like that, and then you're gonna get there. Okay, I can feel my brother stressing out right now, waiting for me to get back, because he made this special appointment for us to get to Dalmore, and I'm hesitating not to run. But really quick, I just want to show you, now that he did make it all the way. Morning. The Mash Tun. Great place to stay. And if you're not staying here, great place to just come and have a bite to eat. Super friendly, lovely people. Met an amazing Weimaraner yesterday named Marius, who was the manager's dog. Oh yeah, hey, Matthias, you are watching. Okay, well look how close I am. See, if you want, you could come downstairs and be part of the live stream. And also don't forget, we need to settle up with the hotel. Okay, here's the ship, the Mash Tun. So, Mash Tun, guys, that is, the mash is where you are, it's part of the whiskey process, right? And the Mash Tun is the big metal, or it could be wood, actually, but often it's metal. The old-fashioned way was wood, that you would, that you'd mix, you know, you'd make the mash in, which is your malted barley and water and such to get that wort, right? To get that kind of, not great beer, but it's like a beer. It's the same kind of idea of a beer, but that's what you then distill into whiskey. So they've promised in the lease, or the title to this place, that if the train ever starts running again, they'll change the name back from the Mash Tun to the Station Hotel. So, all right, guys. Well, listen, that's it. We're done. I'll see you from Dalmore, hopefully, and if not, we'll be in Inverness shortly. Mwah, my lovelies. Enjoy. Take care. Be safe. Get vaccinated. Wear a mask. Don't cough and sneeze on your friends and family. Like this guy. Bye-bye.